Hi, I'm Joe Revita from Empire Music, empiremusic.com in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today, I'm bringing you something that just came in from Gibson, the Gibson Hummingbird Studio Walnut. You can check it out at empiremusic.com. You can chat with us through the site. You can see our entire collection of Gibson guitars, as well as our entire collection of all of our other guitars. We offer 0% financing. We do a full factory setup on everything we sell, so we will dial this in before we ship it to you and make sure it's a great experience for you. You can call us 412-343-5299. You can call or text me directly, 412-915-7118. We'll get you fixed up with an amazing Gibson guitar. Now, the Gibson Hummingbird, initially introduced in 1960, it was the second most expensive Gibson guitar behind the SJ200 at the time. And that was the case for 2 years until the Dub was introduced. So, you know, obviously a historic instrument. The Hummingbird is obviously visually noticeable because of its pickguard with a hummingbird on it. So we don't have to do a lot of deep diving into making sure you know what we're talking about here. What's cool is the Hummingbird's been made consistently since 1960. It never came out of the line. And Gibson has offered variations on it to allow different wood combinations, different price points. And the studio line's super popular because it gives us a hummingbird, it gives us the classic square-shouldered look, right? So Gibson offers two styles of dreadnoughts, really, the slope-shouldered and the square-shouldered. Hummingbird falls into the square shoulder. And this one is you know, an instrument that's not a $4,000 or $5,000 guitar, but still all solid wood, made in their factory in the USA in Montana. And it's a solid, you know, Sitka spruce top and walnut back and sides. What's cool is Gibson really builds these instruments internally very similarly to the standard Hummingbird model. So it has hand scallop bracing, similar neck shape, rosewood fingerboard and bridge, very classic. The swap out really is in the walnut compared to the mahogany, hence the cosmetics, right? Walnut is nice because it is in the rosewood-ish family sonically. So, you know, while the traditional Hummingbird would be mahogany, a little bit more punchy, walnut is more lush, a little bit more rich. So sonically, it might be your preference anyhow, right? We don't see tons of walnut in acoustic guitars, but we do see some of it. I think we don't see it because it's not particularly like a striking wood. Like, you don't, it doesn't stand out on the wall maybe, and if you take a picture of it, you're like, oh wow, walnut. But what I really like about it is while rosewood has tons of extra bass and tons of extra treble and really compressed mids, walnut has some extra bass, some extra treble, and more mids. So while it's still compressed, it's more than rosewood. So it's actually a more balanced version of a rosewood, which I really like. Built-in electronics on this guy, short scale, hard shell case. Really just a great instrument, and it has the classic Gibson tone, which is very noticeable, attributed to the bracing design, the lacquer finish, the neck joint. All those things kind of come together, but the bracing combination is really the kind of calling card that shapes the tone of the guitar, and it's got that really organic Gibson-y sound. You know, it's still got that boxiness to it and really just natural tone. So what I like to do in the videos, if you've seen our videos before, my videos specifically before, you know, I do dynamic range and I do balance. And as a big guitar, this guitar, not a big guitar, but a dreadnought, it's not a small bodied instrument. As a dreadnought guitar, this guitar is going to shine when we push it a little bit. It does have, because of this hand scallop bracing, it does have very nice response to the light touch, but it's really meant to be given a little bit of a go. So let's check it out. We'll go light to heavy and see what you think. It sounds like a Gibson. Is not my favorite guitar plucked lightly. You know, I think that there isn't what it really excels at. As you dive into the guitar and you start to push it, that's where that kind of like the historic tones, like where your brain starts to go, okay, yeah, now I know what I'm doing here, because that's what the guitar wants to do. Something that I was thinking about as I kind of plucked through it, you know, the up top, the notes still have like a nice cut to them and sparkle. The mids are really noticeable, and I don't normally do it this way, but I want to show a little bit of mids like this, you know. Those middle notes are very, very there. They are best sounding with that attack there. Because I think if you were gonna like think that, hey, I want to get this guitar, maybe do some finger style on it, I think it would be underwhelming. Whereas it really wants to be pushed. Now let's talk about the balance of the guitar. Gibsons are offering typically a nice mid response. In this guitar, I think it's very true as well. So let's check that out. Again, even like that part where I typically would just pick through the notes to hear those mids, it just feels like it wants to be strummed, which it's really, really great at. When I hold a Gibson guitar, I immediately notice the short scale. I notice the tone that comes out of it instantly. I think they all have a very, very noticeable trait sonically, and I think the Hummingbird Studio delivers it excellently. I think it's like this guitar being a square shoulder dreadnought, a little bit bulkier, is really for players who want to give it a boost, want to just really drive through it and give it a lot of tone through a little bit medium heavy attack, right? We have smaller bodies. If you want something different, you know, there's lots of brands to choose from here, but I think, you know, if you're buying a Gibson, you know you want Gibson tone. I would say you'd pick the Walnut because you want a little bit richer than the traditional mahogany, but you don't want something as jangly up top as rosewood, so it makes it a great choice. Obviously classic looking. We will dial it in with a factory setup. You can see it right at empiremusic.com. You can call us 412-343-5299. I would love for you to subscribe to our channel below so you can get all the content that we send out about all the guitars we do. This is the Gibson Studio Hummingbird Studio in Walnut. Antique natural finish. Comes with the factory hard shell case and our full factory setup. Check it out on empiremusic.com, and thanks so much for watching.